Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is John with easytolearnenglish.com. Thank you for coming to my channel. Today we are talking about disasters. Now, I made a video about Hurricane Harvey. You can click that link in the description. This is a video about conversation. Now, I want you to use these questions to have a conversation with anyone. You can use the vocabulary we learned in the last video. It will help you remember. A disaster is something very big and bad that happens to you. It can be really anything big, very big and very bad. Sometimes we talk about it like a joke. For example, this food, this cooking is a disaster. No, they aren't. Anytime you really want to use this word, something very big and something bad. For example, if a car crashes and gets into an accident, we can say it was disastrous. Disastrous, the adjective form. I know about many disasters. There are hurricanes, car crashes, there is poverty in the world. That's a disaster. The economy can be a disaster. Sometimes speaking English can turn into a disaster, as some of you probably know. I think the worst disaster I can think of is if I didn't have a home. So that's why Hurricane Harvey is so bad, because people don't have homes. And what's a bigger disaster than not being able to sleep or to have somewhere to feel safe? So, in terms of weather, this is the worst disaster for America so far, Hurricane Harvey. But another disaster I can think of is the stock market crash of 2007. It was a disaster for our economy, the American economy, and it was just really, really, really bad. When disaster happens, usually humans come together and we try and help each other, and the times that are the worst in our lives are what bring us closer together. Now, there are many jobs that are designed for disasters because firemen put out fires. Fires can be disastrous to homes. There are policemen that help in disasters, like if someone is shot, that's a disaster for that family. There are many different jobs, but I think that for helping someone, you don't really have to be trained. You don't need to be working in a certain profession to help anyone in a disaster. We can help each other. I think policemen do help with disasters because it's part of their job description to help when anything bad happens. I think the media plays an important role in disasters because it tells us about the disaster and gives us information, and it also updates us on how that disaster is going and what help or aid we can give to these people in the area that is affected by the disaster. If there were a flood in my city, I would be very afraid because actually last year there was a hurricane in Florida. I live in Florida, and this hurricane created lots of flooding, and there was flooding in all the apartments. So I had to evacuate my city and go to another city because my area was affected deeply. After that hurricane here in Florida, there was a lot of cleanup that had to be done. a lot of damage and a lot of destruction happened here in my city. So there was a lot that had to be done and a lot of rebuilding. If I were on an airplane and it started to crash, I would be very afraid, and I would hope that someone had a parachute or something for me to strap onto my back and to feel safe. Or I would hope that we would land in water, because I think that if a plane is crashing and it doesn't land in water, I don't know how we live. Because my dog is like my child, I would take my dog with me if there were a disaster or anything. I could never, and I would never, leave my dog in a disaster area. A disaster in my life that I can think of that comes to my head is one about when I was 5 years old. And my mom planned a birthday party, and I was in a new school, and no one came to this birthday party in the middle of the summer, and I was so sad because only my family came, and they showed me a lot of love, of course, but I was so sad that no one from my school came. It was very shocking to me. I was very surprised. So that's one disaster that happened in my life. As I said before, a disaster can be anything really bad and big, and it can be to you. It's subjective. I hope after hearing my answers to these questions, you can use these questions to have a conversation with someone else, and you can watch the video I posted about Hurricane Harvey and talk about that, and use the new vocabulary so it stays in your head. Okay? Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe, share.